Hey everybody, Mark Comfort here, co-owner of Cruise Holidays along with my wife Mimi, and we have a really interesting webinar we're going to do today about a fascinating experience, and again, maybe one of the best values of any vacation I've ever seen. I don't know if you all know this or not, but the new hot thing in ocean cruising is called expedition cruising. Expedition experiences, and there has been around 20 some odd expedition ships that have hit the waters in the last 2 or 3 4 years, and another 20 that will be hitting the waters in literally this next year, actually within the next 3 years. 40 some odd, 45 to 50 expedition ships. Okay, what's the definition of expedition? Well, first of all, smaller, much smaller, still very luxury, and most of them are all inclusive. They're designed for unique destinations like the Antarctic or Antarctica and like the Arctic. Now, the cruise line we're going to talk about today, you may or may not have ever heard of it. If you have heard of it, good for you, because they have not advertised hardly at all. They've only been in business about 16 months. And the name of it is Atlas Ocean Voyages. Now, I'm very comfortable with this line because our parent company, Travel Leaders, owns a good percentage of the cruise line. A year ago, October, they introduced their first ship called the World Navigator. And the World Navigator holds 200 people maximum. They define it, or they talk about this experience as yacht-style cruising, ocean cruising. Now, I had the distinct pleasure to go on the naming ceremonies of both the World Navigator, which again was, I did this right before Thanksgiving. So that was about 16 months old, if you will. That's what that ship was. And that, no, that ship was, excuse me, about 14 months old. And the New World Traveler, which they were both there in Ushuaia, which is the southernmost tip of South America, in an area called Patagonia in Argentina. And it's the pathway, the gateway to Antarctica. So we were there with the president of Atlas, with the vice president of sales, with the marketing people, the sales people, all of the important people of Atlas Ocean Voyages. And we were honored to be invited to this. So I learned all about this spectacular ship and what the experience is about. By the way, one of the things that is important is they've built the hulls of both of these ships, the World Traveler, World Navigator. They're both architecturally the exact same ship, just a little different decor. But the hulls of both ships are designed for the ice and the cold water of Antarctica and of the Arctic. And most of their sailings will be to those two areas. So while I was on that cruise in it's called the Beagle Canal, which is Ushuaia heading out to Antarctica, with the president and vice president of sales, marketing people, I had a chance to sit down with them, and they gave me, we talked all about how we can grow our business with them, because I don't know if you know this, got a big group going in February, one of the biggest groups Atlas Ocean Voyages has ever had to Antarctica. Mimi and I are hosting, and we've got, we're working on, I think, 56 people thereabouts going with us to Antarctica in February of this year. But again, this past November, while I was on the World Traveler, we had a chance to sit down and put together the deal and the value, and not the itinerary, they already had that, but we negotiated the deal with them. I negotiated the deal that you're going to hear about. And I tell you what, this is a true second guest goes free or 2 for 1. It's true. There are some cruise lines that promote that are not really truly a 2 for 1. This is savings of 12, well, all the way up to $18,000, depending on what cabin category you take. So I'm going to go over all this with you. Now, my experience on the World Navigator was fabulous. My experience on the World Traveler, the exact ship which is actually the ship I was on, was just spectacular. Pretty much all inclusive, pretty much just fabulous. expedition team. 14 expedition leaders are in Antarctica. There will probably be very close to the same number of expedition leaders that will take you kayaking or paddleboarding or teaching you all about the wildlife in that area or the ecosystem, the economy, all of these things. What makes these places where we're going to go exist? Why are people living there? Because wait till you see this Arctic trip. It's considerably farther north than I bet most everybody watching this has ever been. And I wanted to do this. I'll be real honest with you. The deal was so good. I really wanted to go to the Arctic and the Antarctica destinations on the same cruise line in the same year. And what happened was my church has a group going to Israel that superseded that for me. So I've asked our group coordinator, Lynnette, Talge, to go, and she graciously said yes. And then she said when, and then she said, tell me where. So I know, Lynnette, you're very, very excited to go on this trip, aren't you?
Very excited to go.
Yeah. You have some Scandinavian heritage, don't you, Lynnette?
Just a little bit.
And I think this is going to be one of those experiences that people are going to really enjoy because of the uniqueness of the trip. And I'm going to go through all this with you, but I want you to just know this will be going to Norway and to Greenland and to Iceland. And we're going to stop at some places that Lynnette has practiced the pronunciation of the cities or the stops, the ports that we'll be landing in, but we'll give her a shot at that because boy, some of them are more than I can handle. But the time is August 30th through September 10th, and that's a great time of the year to go. Hot as can be here, so getting up where the weather will be in the 40s for the most part, give or take 10 degrees, could be as high as 50, could be in the mid 30s, but for the most part during the daytime in the 40s. And let's go through this itinerary a little bit, but that's this year, August 30th through September 10th. And then I'll go over so you know a little bit about the ship and a little bit about the deal that we have here. Whoops. So we will fly, first of all, everybody will fly to Oslo, Norway, and then we'll overnight there. A lot of you all were working on, this is done so quickly that the pre-packages are not totally done, but more than likely it'll be at least one night in Oslo. And if you want to go in to Norway earlier or to Europe, wherever, and then get to Oslo, we can help you with this. But then Atlas Ocean Voyages has a charter jet that will take you from Oslo, Norway, all the way to the red dot Longyearbyen. Did I pronounce that right, Lynnette?
You got it right.
Longyearbyen, and that's the airport there in Svalbard. Now, what's in Svalbard? That's a great question. Of all funny things, our group manager, Jess Cummins, she follows somebody on Instagram and Facebook, I think it is, both, from Svalbard. And there's the northern lights there, like right now when it's dark during the winter. Now, we're going to be there when it's when it's light. But also, I want you to see the three animals on the left of the screen, the Santa's reindeers, the polar bear. How cool is this to see polar bear, right? Well, this is a habitat of polar bears and of walrus. So how cool is that? We'll go through this whole itinerary, but hey, Lynnette, I dare you to try to pronounce this stop we're going to make in Greenland.
Well, my best guess is Ittoqqortoormiit.
I think that's much better than I can do. How about the stop now? You were in Iceland last year.
I was, but we didn't make it to Ísafjörður.
And I'd divide it Ísafjörður. Well, we'll learn how to pronounce it correctly when we're there. But there's basically going to be 3 full days in Svalbard, two nights, 3 days of Svalbard, a day at sea getting to Greenland. We'll be exploring this area here, what we call the east side of Greenland, which is famous for its fjords. You'll see some of these fjords in just a minute as we go through this. And then we'll go to Iceland, where we'll be there 2 nights, 3 days there. And there will also be post-package opportunities to stay in Iceland if you so desire. So let's go through this a little bit. Svalbard is just so cool. And one of the reasons why most people go on these expedition cruises is to see the scenery and see the uniqueness of these remote but beautiful, spectacularly beautiful destinations. So Svalbard, Norway, that's the island. There it is right there. There's Longyearbyen, where the airport is, and that's where we'll board the World Traveler and we'll cruise around the islands before we head off to Greenland. And just like in Antarctica, where I'm going in February, they have these ships where the expedition leaders can take you kayaking or paddleboarding or trekking on some places that very few humans ever get to go to. I think that's pretty exciting. Now, this does not look to me like a place I would want to live. But Lynnette, what did you say? What was the draw for people living in?
What I read is they mine coal there.
They mine coal. So
Mhm.
I got to tell you, I bet they're a tough breed of people, one way or another. That with all that darkness and in winter, it's about 100% light in the summer months. But you can just see the scenery and the mountains around that area, and I love how they use color in areas that are in these icy winter conditions. Now, this area is also known for their northern lights, and I hope we get lucky enough to see some northern lights. But again, that time of the year, there's a lot more light than there is dark, like it would be right now in wintertime. But again, this is a place maybe you get lucky and see the northern lights. Boy, this is one of my favorite pictures in this whole presentation. I personally love fjords. I think fjords are some of the most fabulous thing God has ever made, and they're so incredibly beautiful to be able to cruise through them and see that kind of scenery. But the fjords of Greenland are known just like the fjords of Norway. They're breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking, but far fewer people go to Greenland than go to the fjords of Norway. The ice sculptures like you see here that we will get to see when we are in Antarctica are always things that people really enjoy. And I love Lynnette. Lynnette has put this whole thing together, the whole this whole group, so she knows this itinerary as good, if not better than I do. She knows the ship quite well too, and all that's included in it, and the cabins, accommodations, dining, that sort of thing. But this ship is designed to be going to places just like this. Lynnette, one of the things I just love about what Atlas Ocean Voyages is doing is the itinerary to some of these remote areas like Antarctica and like on this trip that you'll be hosting is every day, or the day is called that we're in like Greenland, or we're in Svalbard, or we're in Iceland. It's called Captain's Choice. And that's because they will go to where the weather is best, if there's inclement weather, and where the wildlife is the greatest. Now, wildlife will be a big thing that you're going to see here. We're going to show you some of the wildlife here in just a minute. But I love this picture. Just love the sunsets and sunrises in this part of the world are just beautiful, as you can guess. Okay, now switching down to Iceland. This is on the north and the west side of the island of Iceland. We did happen to go there a few years ago, so I've been to this port. And I mean to tell you, the mountains that you see right there behind the little village, this picture does not even do it justice. It's just incredible, mind-blowing how that mountain just goes. It looks like straight up. When I was there, I thought, my gosh, would that make some exciting skiing in winter or boarding or sledding or whatever. And here again, what a great picture of this. If we get weather that beautiful, the reflections of these beautiful mountains and the beautiful scenery all over Iceland, Greenland, Norway is just world class. Again, and the ice and the formations, and I call it the sculptures that you'll see will be totally unique and different than anything you'll see in your whole entire life. Okay, and we end the trip in Reykjavik. So now we've done, if I remember right, it's, let's see, 3 days in Svalbard, the day in Oslo when we get there first, day in Oslo, 3 days in Svalbard 3 days, full days in Greenland, and 2 full days in Iceland. And then we'll have a day at sea going from Svalbard to Greenland and a day at sea going from Greenland to Iceland. And we'll end up here. And if you so desire to stay longer, you most certainly can. And if you've not been there, or even if you have, I would recommend you to do that. Okay, that's where Reykjavik is right there, the capital of Iceland. Here where my cursor is, if you can see that, is Lynnette Fjordur.
You got it.
If I keep practicing, you'll have it down by the time you get back. And again, I just love the houses that, again, a lot of these places started as little fishing huts and grew into something a little bit bigger. There's Reykjavik in like it would look right now. Obviously in August or early September, it will not have snow on it like you see there. Lynnette, you went to the waterfalls at Gullfoss there in Iceland, right?
Yes, I did. It was a beautiful waterfall. It was really large, majestic. It was a great sight to see. We spent one day in Iceland at Reykjavik, and we did what they call the Golden Circle tour, which took you to the falls and it also took you to the geysers. I think we've got a picture of the geysers as well.
Yeah, there you go. The Iceland's Golden Circle. That is a must see or a must do if you've never been to Iceland, no question about it. But if you have been there, you've probably already done it. So there's so much more that we can have you do while you're there too. But yeah, the geysers I thought was just spectacular. And Lynnette, you know, I love history in that one area. I cannot remember the name of it right now, where all of the Viking tribes used to come and meet once a year, was right there outside of Reykjavik. That it looked like it's where the 2 tectonic plates had separated a little bit, and there was the big mountains, cliffs on both sides, and then the flat, you call it gully or prairie, in between these gigantic cliffs. It was just spectacular. So yeah, this is a beautiful sight. And we're going to talk a little bit about wildlife now, because you're going to see, obviously conditions get a little harsh in this area, so the wildlife that you will see will be quite unique and different from the caribou, the type of horses that can survive out there, the elk, the caribou, like I said. But how about this? And by the way, this is back up in Svalbard. Look at the size of the polar bear paws. And there are a lot, there's an enormous amount of polar bears in Svalbard. Matter of fact, Lynnette, when you get back, I want to report as to whether there's more polar bears and walruses than people or not.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now here's the point. Look at that. I told Lynnette, I mean, that is absolutely just precious, Mom and her 2 cousins. But I did tell Lynnette, no, you cannot bring back a polar bear cub, because the little cub gets as big as Mama there.
That's right.
Okay, now how about this? That you can bring back an Arctic fox, and I think, isn't it amazing how God makes these animals to blend in for their self-protection? I think that's so cool. And the walrus, I just think that's one of the most fascinating animals God put on the face of the earth, and to be able to see a walrus, I think, is really going to be a special thing. And apparently there's a high concentration of walruses in both the Svalbard area and in Greenland also. Puffins, of course, are big, very, very big. I love that with the beak, absolutely fabulous. Is that a fish, Lynnette? You think that?
I'm thinking that's a fish.
I bet that's dinner right there. Okay, and the muskox. Now, how about that for an animal? Boy, oh, I don't know. I think this is going to be an exciting trip, because you're going to see some unique wildlife, and there will be these expedition leaders along, remember, with what's called the captain's choice, that will take you to where the wildlife is the greatest. Again, the captain's choice takes you where the weather is best, calmest, and where the wildlife is the best. Lynnette, you remember what kind of whale that was?
That's a beluga.
A beluga whale, isn't that something? So yeah, they have some really different animals all over there. But let me take a few minutes to just share with you what Atlas Ocean Voyages, the World Navigator. Remember, the World Traveler is the same exact ship You'll be going on the World Traveler, which is the newer ship. But again, they call this intimate yacht-style cruising. They pride themselves in the service, yet elegant and relaxed, very relaxed ambiance. They call this resort casual, okay, in the evenings, but I can promise you it'll be much more casual than resorty. Okay, and the cultural immersions, this is a big deal. Atlas, with this expedition theme, wants you to be immersed in a culture of an area that you would rarely get a chance to go to. We'll talk all about the restaurants here in just a minute, but I found the food was just exceptionally good, as was the service. Wines, craft cocktails, brews, all included. Great brands of bath amenities, mini fridge stocked with your preferences. Gratuities are included for exceptional service, which you'll get. The yacht and marine water toys, and that would be for, you know, if you want to go kayaking or paddleboarding or things like that. And Atlas does, because they go to some of these remote areas of the world, has emergency medical evacuation insurance included in their pricing. So let's talk about some accommodations, and this is what Lynnette will know. So when you call and talk to Lynnette, she can walk you through which accommodations might be very best for you. As you would imagine, they have a nice assortment of suites, a nice assortment of balcony rooms. They've got a unique classification called Horizon rooms, where it's not really a balcony, but the window comes down halfway, and it's floor to ceiling, wall to wall windows. You'll see that here in just a minute. So the Navigator Suite is the very, very best, and as you see, it's 465 square feet, and it does hold up to 3 guests. Okay, the Discovery Suite is next at 445 square feet. These are the designs. We can get all these to you. The Journey Suites, this is what Mimi and I are going in Antarctica, 382 square feet. Can hold up to 3 people. Okay, now this is the one I was telling you about. I just want you to keep an eye on it. This might be of interest to you, or it might not. If you'll notice on the top left corner, that room setup, you see where I'm talking about. The window will, by pushing a button, comes down exactly halfway, or as far as you want it to come down, but no further than halfway. And they call it a Juliet balcony. But it's a very unique, and it does make the room feel much bigger. So it's not an outdoor balcony like they do have. These are the Veranda Deluxe staterooms that have the outdoor balcony that will go outside. So they do have veranda rooms if you so desire. And they have some of these other Horizon rooms on different floors that are a little bit smaller. And so there's several stateroom categories that we can walk you through based on what you want and how much you want to spend. Okay, let's see. Oh, they have these Adventure Ocean room, a little bit smaller rooms, which of course is wonderful for people, you know, that just don't want to spend hardly anything at all. And they've got the solo ocean view stateroom, which is good. Lynnette, I can't remember. Do you remember? Is there 1 or 2 of those?
I think there might be 2 of them.
I was thinking there was 2 also. But again, so this is designed for a solo traveler without having to get dinged or have to pay for double occupancy. So let's talk about dining. There is one main dining room, and that's called the Porto dining room. Now, the owner of Atlas Ocean Voyages is Portuguese. And so there's a big Portugal flair to this cruise line, but I thought, and by the way, I was in Portugal in October, but I loved the options on the ship. They do a very, very good job of giving you the foods from the culture where we're going to, and also our traditional Western or American favorites too. So I think you'll like the food, and most importantly, I think you'll like the ambiance of the dining room and also the service that you will get. Okay, So there is a grill restaurant area on the aft part of that deck 4 where the Porto restaurant is. Now, if the weather is inclement, it will not be open. So just have you know that. And I do want you to know, oh my gosh, they have full room service basically anytime, day or night. And I use their room service every morning as a wake-up call and for breakfast. So it was fabulous. Now they do have this little Paula's pantry. This was fabulous. That they call it a cafe, of course, where your grab and go snacks. So the people that eat a light breakfast can come here and grab a muffin or a donut. The boost drinks, they had a whole bunch of those. I call them the Red Bull boost drinks. I don't think it was that brand. It was a different brand. But they've got the teas and everything else, midday snacks from sandwiches, wraps, salads, things like that. So much more casual and just kind of very quick. And I told you about the in-room dining, which was just tremendous, and it was exceptionally good. Now, from a view, this dome observation lounge is where we almost always found ourselves when we were on the ship because of the incredible 270 degrees worth of views. It was just fabulous. And right outside on both sides of where my cursor is going of the dome of the lounge were outdoor doors to take you outside. So and there's a deck, wonderful deck out there. So if the weather's good enough to go out there and there's whales or you see whatever you might see, it's easy, very easy to get outside. And a lot of people did that too. Health and wellness, I thought this was great. They have a great spa there. I was very impressed with the spa and a huge sauna. I really am into saunas, and most Europeans and especially Scandinavians are big time into these infrared saunas, and they're fabulous, as they are also into hot tubs. So I'll show you the hot tubs in just a minute. And it did have a very, very nice fitness studio to work out in. Okay, jogging track, as you see, and there's the pool with the hot tubs on both sides. And then there you see the bar right behind it. So you don't have far to go when you're in the pool. Okay, so the ships itself, if you look at it, there's really only 1, 2, 3 passenger decks, and then there's 8 decks all total. And then they have a mud room down here on deck 3 to put on muck boots or whatever you want, because a lot of times you won't dock, you will anchor. They don't even anchor. They have a GPS system that's just state of the art. And then they take you into land by zodiacs. I found that just fascinating. So they have muck boots there for your usage, and parkas for you to keep. We'll show you those parkas that we are going to have in Antarctica. So we'll go through all this with you as you call and you're wanting to know more specifically about what's available and what you can do there. So let's talk about the deal. The deal, I told you, is this. I just love, I get so excited when I find a line like Atlas that's needing help, wanting help to sell trips that are not, filled. And they're hungry right now because Atlas hasn't spent hardly any money on national advertising. So it's only people like us that know the quality and how spectacular these ships and these prices are. Now, as Lynnette will tell you, as you're looking down the prices, we have, oh my gosh, let's see. Oops, let me get that out of there. I'll go there. Well, I hope you can see all that. As you can imagine, we are spending around $15,000 to $16,000. Lynnette, would you guess that? $15,000 or $16,000 in Antarctica per person?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, anywhere.
I bet it's averaging 15, maybe 16,000. Doesn't matter. I want you to look at all these prices. I don't know if that's on my apologies if it is. Start at 13,234 and go up to 19,234 for the Navigator Suite. But here's what I want you to see. The second guest goes free. So, except for the port charges and taxes, which are $735. So like in this, guest 1 goes for $16,234. $34, and guest 2 goes for $735. So, I mean, it is a spectacular value, just spectacular. Air is not included in this. We can help you with air. The pre and posts are not included. We can help you with those. And if you're interested, and I think you probably will be, in travel insurance, we recommend it strongly, and we can go over all that with you. Go over COVID policies, and right now, really, there's not going to be anything major that you need to know, but we could review all that with you based on you. Okay, the deposit is $535 per person for that allows us to hold you a room, a specific room on the ship. Obviously, middle of the ship is best, so if you have that choice. And that's for all the staterooms except for the suites. The suites are $785 per person. And that, as you notice, $285 of that is non-refundable. Final balance due by April 18th. Yes, we take credit cards. So, Lynnette, anything else to say about any of this?
Yeah, other than I'm just looking forward to taking this trip and hosting it with everyone to see the scenery, see the wildlife, experience the expedition style cruising. I'm really looking forward to that, and getting out on the Zodiac or possibly kayaking or something like that while I'm there too.
You're gonna let me share with you how much fun or how scary the kayaking and the paddleboarding in Antarctica is. But again, I really wanted to do this, but because of the Israel trip for me at the same time, I'm going to be doing that in August, and so I asked Lynnette if she'd like to go, knowing she would very much like to go, as she made that very clear to me earlier, that this itinerary is just so doggone special. And Lynnette, I'm going to go back. I just love that picture right there. Is that not spectacular, going through those fjords? I think it's just beautiful. Okay. Well, hey, everybody. The way to get a hold of us is 816-505-1500. Again, 816 area code 505-1500. I am, you're going to get, we will send you a link of this if you want to forward it on to anybody. And what we will also do is send you a link to watch about the naming ceremony that I was on in November on this very ship, the World Traveler. So again, Lynnette, anything else you'd like to say?
Let's go.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's an experience of a lifetime. And I know if I do this in 2024, it's just going to be, again, I'm sure that promotion that the second guest goes free will not be there then. So I'd say take advantage of it right now. It's okay if you have kids, spend your kids' inheritance. If not, do something for yourself. I know you will love this, and Lynnette will get a full briefing on everything that we do and experience in Antarctica, and we'll know everything you'll need to know about this trip for August 30th through September 10th. And I hope you'll join us on this. It's going to be, well, you talk about from a scenery and a wildlife point of view, a cultural experience. I think it's going to be it'll be top on your list. And right now, there is no doubt about it. Antarctica for the last many years has been on everybody's bucket list. Seems like after they do that, they next want to do the Arctic. That's why all these expedition ships are being built. And that's why almost all of them too are going to the Arctic as well as to the Antarctica area. And I will tell you this, we did check with many of the leading competitors like Viking and like Silver Seas and like Regent and like Seabourn, so many others. And honest to goodness, this is the best deal of any one of those lines by 50 to 70%. So take advantage of it while it is there. We can help find just the perfect stateroom for you. We have just now made this public, literally, so you'll be one of the first to know about this. And if you're interested, just give us a call, 505-1500, 505-1500. Ask for Lynnette Talge. It's Talge. She's the only Lynnette here. Ask our receptionist about the Arctic cruise in August. Lynnette, okay, you better get some warm clothes on, even though it's going to be a heck of a lot warmer for you. The weather's going to be in the 40s. When I'm in Antarctica, the weather's going to be in the 20s and maybe 30s if we get lucky. So, but anyway, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate it, and we're here to help you create memories that last a lifetime. I know this is going to be a very special experience at a very